So this is my setup for this new session. I'm going to record OPZ MIDI data from the Keystep into the OPZ. The OPZ is connected to the iPad Pro via Bluetooth. I'm going to be controlling different instruments in AUM. I'm routing audio out of USB to this adapter into a Native Instruments Komplete Audio 6, and then I'm routing the headphone out to these Sonys. The reason I'm doing that is because there's only one stupid USB-C port. Otherwise, I would just charge and plug headphones in at the same time, but this thing doesn't have a headphone jack. So instead, I'm routing to an audio interface, which is better audio anyway, but I don't know. My last video, a Redditor commented that I wasn't just using an iPad and a circuit, and that's fair. So I just wanted to make clear everything I'm using here. This is the Korg nanoKontrol 2. You can map it in AUM as a MIDI controller, so I can control volume sliders and then assign these knobs to different functions. I like to use pan, and then on this one I like to do a master low pass. So I'll show how I configure all of that. And then I wanted to show in the OPZ app what my MIDI configs are set up like. So if I go into MIDI here, this is what I've got out: clock out, MIDI in, MIDI out, channel 1 to active track. That really doesn't matter a ton for what we're doing here, but that's how it's set up. And then if you can see over here, I've got it set to MIDI, I believe, on the Keystep. Let's pull it up. Yep. So as you can see, it's upside down, but 2 up is MIDI. And that allows me to get audio in. I'll turn on my studio monitors just for a second so you can hear. 1 second. I've got the KRK Rocket 5s. Turn audio up and yep. So we've got Bluetooth audio, no cables connecting the Z to the iPad. Eventually I might want a wired config, but there's really no downside right now to this setup. And I don't have a good hub for getting power and MIDI into the Z right now, although I might have something laying around. So yeah, to recap, Arturia Keystep into the Z, Bluetooth MIDI to all 8 instrument and drum tracks to the Z. I'm going to route every track to a different track here in AUM. Let me pull AUM back up. Right now it's just the Korg M1, which I just got, or IM1, which I love, and I got because I've been obsessed with hardware synthesizers lately on YouTube, but I can't justify buying them because of my credit card debt. So instead, I'm just getting apps that I can play as though they were traditional synthesizers. And yeah, really the magic here is the Z connected to this, controlling 8 simultaneous different MIDI out streams and being able to change patterns. So I'm going to build a track using this setup. I'll show you how I map this once I have all my tracks ready. And yeah, I'll show you what we make. And so yeah, I like to use the chord track for tracks that are going to have multiple notes simultaneously. The ARP track, this one sends an arpeggiated signal, even though it's not playing an OPZ sound. And so that one I would send to like a bass or some kind of sound I did want to have some kind of arpeggiation. And then lead, I try to use mono sounds, but you don't have to. It can play polyphonic sounds, same with bass. And then the drum tracks, I'll show you how I have those set up once I get there. I'm going to choose some more sounds, and then I'll show you what I have before I start composing anything. All right, I'll be back. So I've got all 8 of my sounds selected that will correspond to the 8 audio MIDI channels here. I'm not really messing with the 8 other ones. So I want to show you how I map the Korg nanoKontrol to an AUM real quick. So I'm actually going to map these in accordance with the OPZ's order, not with the order that I have here, which is not exactly like, these don't correspond 1-to-1 with channel 1, 2, because I mapped the drums to these, whereas these first 4 are my synths, and they're even out of order. That's chords, lead, bass, and ARP, which don't really correspond here. So I'm just going to focus on how they're ordered here and how they're ordered here, just for my mental sanity. Okay, so you click the little hamburger. Get that here, MIDI control, and make sure under MIDI sources you've got nanoKontrol slider knobs set. Now that I'm here, I'm gonna go to, let's see, the first one is Rosemaker Noir. That's my kicks. So for volume, I'm gonna select learn, and then I'm gonna move this. And now, if I go over to Rosemaker, you'll see that it moves. So that's great, that's done. And so that's what you do for each track. You go back into the hamburger, MIDI control, select your next track. So we'll do normal Rosemaker, volume, or not mute, volume, learn. Now it's waiting for input, slide 2, and we're good. So that's what you do, and you can do that for each one. And if this gets super annoying, my recommendation is actually to, once you've finished mapping all 8 tracks, to save a version of this AUM set, and then you can just swap the sounds out, but you'll retain your mappings for 1, 2, and so on. Cool, so I'm gonna map the rest of them and I'll show you what sounds I picked. Hey y'all, quick update. I realized when I was editing this video, as I'm doing right now, that I didn't talk about how I set up the MIDI for each track. So just to show you, you choose OPZ Bluetooth, channel filter, I hit none, and then I select the corresponding track. So this is chord, which is track 8 here, right there. And I want this track to only listen for stuff from that. And then basically each of the 8 tracks are identical. They all need to go to OPZ Bluetooth and then the corresponding related MIDI track. So this is my lead sound, so it's track 6, and so on. They're all like that. So I thought I'd add that because it's not in the original video. Cool. Okay, so everything is mapped, and there's only one last thing I really need to do, and I'll show you that here on camera. So right now, all of these are going straight to the headphone out in AUM. You can see USB, which is the Native Instruments Komplete audio. I'm going to make a new track which is received from bus A. This in general isn't necessarily how you would use buses if you were like doing a professional mix and master, but it's pretty great for controlling all of the different audio inputs into one, which is what I want to do here. So now I'm going to route every single one of these to mix bus A. And the reason I'm doing that is for something that's kind of cheesy, but I basically want the ability to map a low pass filter to the master track, which is now mix bus A. And once that's mapped, it'll give me the ability to do like kind of fun, low pass filters in and out when patterns are changing or that kind of thing. And so you can see right here, I'm gonna choose, I believe it's filter and EQ, low pass. And now I'm gonna go into MIDI control over here to receive from bus. I'm gonna go to frequency for low pass filter, learn, and then choose this knob. And now you might be able to see it, I'll zoom in, but I control low pass. We're not hearing anything because there's no sound going. The other reason I'm doing this is so that I can record a single audio file from all of this to this with the filter on it. So to set that up, I'm gonna record arm, this guy, and moving forward, all of the composition and stuff I'm gonna record as a single file, and hopefully I'll have a song at the end. But I got really good feedback on my last song making video that the audio that you were hearing throughout most of the making of was the audio out of my monitors through this Galaxy S9 microphone. I felt like it captured the essence, but the commenter was totally right. It didn't give you the full power of each sound and really show you what they sound like. And so that's why I will be recording the entire operation using this record function here while I work. Okay, so I'm gonna start recording and it's gonna actually start playing. I think Rosemaker Noir is set to use a sequencer, so I'm gonna disable that. And now we're good. Everything that happens from here on out is something I will control. I'm gonna compose all of this MIDI here only using the OPZ as the brain. It's gonna route all of the audio tracks out, and I will have control over those audio tracks through these faders. All right, so here we go. I should tell you what sounds I've chosen, so let's go through them in order. I changed my mind on the guitar thing. Now I'm using actually D pad. back to AUM. For the lead track, I'm using Audio Kit Synth 1. These two, as you might notice, actually don't really function as audio units as of the time of this recording. Audio Kit might technically, I know D1 is supposed to be an audio unit V3, but I'm running the iPad OS beta, and so far that's completely broken Audio Kit's AUV3 functionality. So this is a single instance inter-app audio, and IM1 is only available as inter-app audio, unless you want to use it in Korg Gadget. So and this is the verbaceous lead preset. Okay, for bass, got my Model 15, and that's gonna be track 5. And that is playing the Meat and Potatoes bass preset, which is part of the standard Model 15 package. For ARP, I'm using Sunriser Synth, which has this really nice velocity controlled cutoff filter. Something I need to make sure actually is that my BPM matches what Sunriser's looking for. So let's move this BPM up to, let's see, right now it's 117. Let's move it to that's 122. Let's try 130, that's 133. Let's try 132, perfect. And then we'll set this to, 132 as well. I don't actually like how intense that's making the ARP, so we're gonna change the ARP setting here. I'm gonna lower it to, that's 8ths now instead of 16ths. So there you go for that. Close that window, and we're still recording. All this should be out already. Just showing you what I'm doing, but showing you the sounds. For drums, I'm using Rusemaker Noir for the deep kicks. Standard Rusemaker, set to the Electro 3 preset. And those are Brambos. Great dude. I'm using 3 different Brambos. Rusemaker, Rus FM, and Noir, which I learned from Jakob Hack and is an awesome plugin. This is just basic kick, yeah, without the sequencer, because I'm sequencing through the Z. So yeah, Rusemaker here on the snare track, Rusemaker FM to Broken Kit on the hi-hat track, and then a plugin called Vantinator, which is one of the only other drum AUV3s available, set to the Electro Punk plugin, or preset. Vantinator is not super popular because the drum sounds aren't amazing, but beggars can't be choosers when it comes to AUV3s for drums right now in 2019, so track 4. And that's everything. Cool, so I'm gonna throw on my headphones and compose something. We'll make a whole song, let's go. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this dude up so I can hear the metronome. So I'm filming on a Galaxy S9 because that's my primary 4K camera. In fact, it's my only camera except the iPad, which is my music making device. And I had a bit of a technical issue because it only shoots 4K for 10 minutes straight, and I guess I got carried away. So it didn't show you composing what I composed, which kind of sucks. So I figured I'll just walk you through what I made. It's still recording. I've been recording this whole time. So I'll just show you what I've got so far. This is pattern 1. And I changed the art track, which you'll hear later. I ended up not liking the preset in Sennheiser. So yeah, that's everything so far. So I haven't added a lot of drums. I just have the Rhythmaker Noir kick right now, and I only have this first kind of chord structure. So I'm gonna cut here, start recording another 10-minute stretch, and build out some more stuff on camera. Anyway, I apologize about that. Here we go. So I ran out of the 10 minutes again. Shout out to Galaxy S9 for that sweet 10-minute stop and not starting a new clip. Anyway, finished it up, so I'm going to do a performance of what I've created. And I apologize that some of the creation process wasn't captured on camera. It was all on audio, but I'm not really sure how I would just show you the audio without showing you the camera stuff. So here's a performance of what I've created, and hopefully you enjoy it.